Good morning, Akshay.
Hey,
Morning,
Cam.
John.
Good to see you.
Morning.
Likewise.
Morning.
Is it morning where you are, Johnny?
Today it is morning. I'm in New Jersey.
Nice. And have you met Akshay before?
I don't think we have.
Hey, Johnny. I'm Akshay. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
How did you get connected into this group?
I went to Return to the Source last, was it June? The last Return to the Source with Cam.
Nice.
And yeah, sorry.
Hey, Giulio. Nice to see you.
Hey, Giulio.
Nice to see you too. I'm very happy to be here. Hi, Johnny. This is Giulio from Germany.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Unfortunately, this year I couldn't make it to Return to the Source, but I've been to the US earlier in the year. So in May we had the apprentice kind of like wrap up of the apprenticeship with Rafe, and then we had a marvelous time at the spring awakening retreat, which was quite amazing. Yeah.
Heard it was great.
I'm gonna wait for about 2 more minutes, see if anybody else joins, and then we can get going a little more formally.
Cool. Is Rave on the invite for these now?
Not as a rule.
Do you want to add him just going forward? Because he might try to make it.
Also, maybe if you want, Cam, I can send him the email for the invite now because he was asking on the WhatsApp group when we next meet. And then Mark was like, well, basically today.
Yeah, yeah. If you could forward it to him right now, that'd be fantastic.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay. 5 minutes past. So in the interest of time, I think what I would like to do, and you guys tell me how you feel about this, is I would reinforce the traditional practice now of doing like rosebud thorn on physical practices. That can be brief, uh, round robin, and then I'd like to get an introduction done here a little bit better between Johnny and at least the two of you. Um, and then we can go from there. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Um, so I can lead off briefly. Rows in terms of physical practices for me uh, I do feel like there is a fully blossomed program for me to go into this autumn and winter. I'm really enjoying going back through the setup for the IMP. I'm about halfway through my baselining exercises right now. Um, so that feels mature and good. The bud is going to be the new environments. So I'm operating in new spaces, which is just an enormous amount of fun here. I'm on Bainbridge Island right now, and I've been spending more time back out in Hansville. And it's a mix of both way old familiar places and places that I've never explored before. And that's just a joy to get to unfold. And then the thorn right now uh, is going to be just the overall. Um, it feels like I'm suffering from multiple forms of hangover going through the various events that have happened in my life in the last couple of months. And it's, it feels arduous. getting the inertia going again on real regular routines. So that's it for me, Giulio. How about you?
Yeah, it's good to hear from you. So let's see. Roles for the physical practices, I would say, yeah, still kind of like the things that I picked up at the beautiful workshop that I've been going to. Hey Nick, how's it going?
Hey,
What's up,
Nick,
guys?
you look great, man.
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
indeed. Nick, I was just sharing like my physical practice, Rose, Bud, and Thorn. Cam just did his, and so we're going around. So
like
just so you know, yeah. So I've been to a workshop in October from my dear friends that almost participated in the apprenticeship. Lorenzo, he's very much into eco somatics. That's what he called it as a psychologist. Super interesting stuff. And then it's the older brother of Marcello Palazzo, good friend of mine. He's called Matteo. He's very much into the Chinese martial arts ideas of internal martial arts. And of course, both of them are very much into the natural parkour and tree climbing stuff. And then there was a third guy facilitating who brought something which I've never experienced before. I don't know about you guys, but like he calls it stealth. So this idea of like seeing and without being seen. Super interesting practices, especially combined with this idea of being one with nature, like this idea of like, how can I be like my surroundings, basically? So to like not only immerse in it, but actually not be seen in it. Like super, super interesting stuff also on a philosophical level, I would say. Yeah, nature immersion, lots of movement, and one rose I was about to share was a tree transfer at about, I would say, 15 meters, whatever that is in feet, height. So quite a lot, from a beech tree, which I'm very familiar to a birch tree, which I'm definitely not familiar in terms of climbing. So it was super scary to do the transfer at height, like with not so much with the tree bending, what we did in May, but a lot of like reaching, leaning, and super scary. Yeah, so that was my roles for sure. But yeah, I'm trying to explore more they called it yin side of practices. So the workshop was about yin and yang, so kind of like hard physical practices and softer ones. And so I think autumn for me is a time to go deeper into the yin side, to the softer side. So I want to dance more. I want to do more on the floor, like floor work, ground flow stuff. And also the body to body can be softer in terms of like maybe less play fighting, more kind of like contact improv stuff. So we'll see where that leads, to soften up a bit and let the year go. um, Thorn, I would say I lack a structure. I lack a structure in my physical training lately. So it's kind of all over the place, a bit scattered. I'm doing a lot for sure, but somehow I would like almost like a timetable throughout the week, which is quite hard to manifest, to put into place somehow. So that's my thorn for the physical practice. Thanks for listening. I'll hand it over to Akshay.
Yeah, so many cool things that you just mentioned, Giulio. I'm so curious about the ecosomatics and the stealth and the yin practices. Um, I'm doing pretty good out here. I would say that, so I did a kind of like a somatic retreat gathering the last like 2 weeks ago. And one of the roses from it was like we went to the Rio Grande Canyon. It's this huge canyon. It goes down maybe like 300 feet. We're kind of hiking this flat area in the middle. And at one point, I scrambled down probably like 40 meters, probably like 120 feet or so to the water, and then just scrambled back up. And it was just this weird moment where I was like, oh yeah, like I can do that stuff. Like the trail is wherever I see fit to go because I have enough skill to just like go there. Um, and it was really satisfying. I had a moment there too where there were all these boulders and there was this mountain goat sitting up on a boulder over here. So I scrambled up on a boulder over here and we were just like checking each other out from up on these. I was like in the mountain goat's world. I was like, whoa, hello. Um, and that the the aspect of natural movement which deals with relationships to non-human others is super interesting to me. Um, so yeah, my thorn right now is that I don't get to play physically with people as much. Um, I have a couple folks that I'm developing friendships with out here that I think are interested in some of the roughhousing stuff, and one of them teaches at a jujitsu studio, and so hopefully we'll get some time to go in and play together. Um, and then the bud is that I've been pretty deep in the Alexander technique stuff that I do, and more it seems essential for a natural movement practice to have that level of sophistication with body to self stuff. I was reading Margareta Stryker's book again, and she says something in it that natural movement basically boils down to letting kind of like the equilibrium of mass of your body solve the problems of movement that you encounter rather than some effort of the muscles. And that idea is super interesting to me. Um, Nick, my friend who's teaching at the Jiu-Jitsu studio is also an Alexander technique person, and she's blending the two and bringing some of that stuff into her classes. So
I'm looking up a definition. Like
yeah,
can you summarize it? Because I'm getting
yeah. Yeah, so Alexander technique, it kind of has two components. Um, One is basically about learning how to move with only the enough tension in your body. So like, I could pick up my phone and I can clench up all kinds of stuff through here, which doesn't need to happen. Or I can find a way to pick up my phone that's easy. So that's kind of the somatic part of it. There's a bunch of tools and skills that go into that, sensory awareness and all kinds of things. But the more interesting piece is that when you let go of your habitual patterns of tension and movement, you're free to make novel choices in how you embody things or navigate movement situations. And that piece is less clear to me, but much more interesting, right? Who hasn't been stuck in a habit around some kind of movement that they want to do? They go to do it and they're like, ah, fuck, I did this again, or I did this again. And it's like, how do you stop doing that? That's what Alexander technique is all about. Um, and at some point, I'd love to offer some kind of intro to that material to y'all. I think it would be cool to be in the retreats and gatherings we may do together as well. So
Okay, so that's too good to
that's my
pass up right there. I'm gonna do my standard play here, Akshay, and I'm gonna say pick a date, man. We'll come to you if necessary.
cool. I'll look at my calendar and I'll send a date out to y'all.
Thank you.
And I'll pass it to Johnny.
Cool. Hey guys. Let's see. So Rose for me, I've been working with Aaron lately on some movement stuff. I'm a bit newer to all this. And so he's been helping me develop an ecology of physical practice that has really supported my more dialogical, propositional practices. So that's been really, really awesome. A thorn is I travel a lot, so I was just in London and I'll be in Austin next week. It's really hard going back to Cam's routines. It's really hard to really solidify a routine when you sleep in a different bed every 3 or 4 weeks. But it's the life I chose, so I just need to either need to figure it out or move less. One of those two. And the bud for me is this right here. You guys have been very, very welcoming. Cam in particular, in kind of letting me be a fly on the wall, but also letting me ask questions. I'll get more into why I'm asking questions when it's appropriate, but everyone's been super welcoming and super open to exploring different ways that I can help EMP kind of evolve. No pun intended. I'm really sorry about that one. Uh, so yeah, that's been really great.
Thanks, Johnny. Nick, what's going on, man?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I have so many questions for everyone. We were just throwing out these $50 words: ecosomatics, Alexander technique. We, we could just spend the rest of our time on ecosomatics alone. But life's been going good, guys. Real quick, Rosebud Thorn. Let's see. The rose has been just where we're at the gym that I go to at Hoover Combat with our jujitsu practice, and then just the invitingness and positiveness and I guess growth of the gym right now. People don't just a little bit about Sauter County and Portsmouth, Ohio, right? The great Portsmouth, Ohio. People don't wrestle here. There are no wrestling teams. And so there's a certain potency to introducing like grappling to the area. People box. Football is big, but there's no wrestling teams. It's kind of weird. So, just the amount of growth we've experienced in this little Kwanzaa hut, this like a Kwanzaa hut's like a little dome, like a plane hangar almost. And this guy named Nate built it on his property and put mats in it. And the amount of growth in the last probably 3 months especially has just been explosive. And so many people are coming to try it. There's a space for everybody to talk and learn. Like it's almost I'll use another buzzword here, but it's more dialogical than it is top down or like someone comes in with a black belt. No one has a black belt. Nate just got his brown. Okay. And we have other black belts that check in our gym and things like that. But it really just started with Nate and this other guy named Caleb. Like, hey, you want to see if we can figure this out? I bet we can figure this out. He had a long martial arts background. His family's really well known for karate, for full contact karate in the area. They started playing with that. Anyway, where it's come to now, it's just so positive and inviting. I'm just grateful for it. A lot big kids classes. So that's been developing Rose, Bud, and Thorn. Maybe let's see, what would the Thorn be? The Thorn would maybe be just uh directing the ship, maybe. I guess it kind of can feel like this is ours to mess up if we do something stupid or something, you know? So working on just managing the amount of tasks and all too much good. There's too many good things going on. We just don't want to mess it up. So kind of an arbitrary concern. I'm not super worried about that. It's not dependent on me. It's been pretty positive. And then the last one, let's see, Bud. I am excited about how this the different things in my life, with whether it's the workouts with the guys at the church in the morning or the kids grappling class or the adults grappling classes, that they are open. Like movement is in the conversation, how to move better. Anytime you guys follow them, one second, guys. Oh, hold up. I'm having a little emergency.
Okay. So, not sure. Seems like a dog maybe was present.
Yeah, maybe there was a dog. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can just continue. And if Nick gets back, then he can share the rest of his stories. What do you guys think?
Yeah. So I'm hesitating on. Well, actually, no. I can clarify a couple of things. So, Johnny, you mentioned Aaron. Is that Aaron Cantor that you're working with?
Yeah.
Just for okay, it is. And you're in.
Awesome.
So you're in Jersey right now. How far are you from his place?
He's in Boston, right? So about a 4 hour drive.
Okay, cool. I'm wondering if you can say a little bit more about that. I think you said that he's so there's the you're you're building a physical practice underneath the dialogical practice is what it sounded
Or
like.
or in conjunction with, in order to support.
Okay.
Yeah. You want me to riff a
Yeah,
little
if
bit
you
on
can,
that?
I'm basically trying to buy a little bit of time, see if Nick
Yeah.
comes back because I there's some pointed questions that I think
Yeah.
that
No,
I
all
want to
good.
aim at you to bring everybody together. And then Nick also hasn't been with this group in a while. So
Hmm.
and he said that he's got a bunch of pointed questions and he always asks really good questions. So
Yeah.
I would
I
that's what I'm
I appreciate your train conducting abilities, or your orchestra conducting abilities, and I can definitely. It's been really cool. It actually started with Kyle. So I'll get into this more. I'm a serial entrepreneur on my third venture, and every time is different, and everything is a bit of a roller coaster. And I was trying to be really intentional with this business, and found myself thinking a lot in like warrior mentality. And I don't know why, because actually I've never really studied martial arts. I've never been in a fight, but for some reason, when I think about business, I think like in analogies of like war and warrior. And so I was working with Kyle a little bit to kind of unpack that, and wanted to add some of the physical on top. And so Aaron's really been helping me think about a physical practice around his brief was help me explore this warrior side of me in a physical way. And it's been very interesting because it's nothing like I expected. We've been doing a lot of balance, a lot of uh how do I articulate it? A lot of tension, creating nourishing tension, but also releasing tension, being I guess the and it's hard for me because like I said, new to this whole world. But for the way I would describe it is like, uh, must always be ready to act and be tense, but also must be super loose at all times, um, in order to be able to roll with punches. And it's been really nourishing and helpful in my like day to day like computer typey jobs.
thank you. So Giulio, is there any particular curiosities you want to explore right away?
For sure, many, but like this one thing that I heard from what you just said, Johnny, was super interesting in how the physical practice in that case might support to look at some topics which are maybe more business related, but also what I'm hearing is yeah, maybe even personality related. So this idea of how can the physical practice maybe support this idea of personal growth in whatever endeavor it might be. That's really interesting. Like for me, maybe one of my main curiosities I've always had within the physical practice realm, how the transfer works back to other realms of life. So super curious. Thanks for sharing, Johnny.
Cool.
Akshay? Oh, there's Nick back.
Sorry.
Back to our
Uh,
regularly scheduled programming.
I apologize. There are some elements of my life that are a little unpredictable sometimes, but no matter, we're good.
You were up to the bud. You were just starting to get into the bud.
Yes, the bud, the good potential. Let's see. That move, like I said, movement is in the conversation at our gym, and regularly things are brought up of like this is what I'll say, guys, to encourage you about just the time we spent around Rafe and probably the time you're spending around Aaron and stuff now, Johnny. Um, but it really does. It gives our movement a quality that does set us apart in certain spaces. If you put your like training in a different context to like people are not even in gyms that are grappling oriented or combat oriented, people don't explore a lot of the spaces that we did, or don't move like more softly, and that gives a quality to your movement that stands out to people. And so, what I'm excited about is that I feel like what we learned through EMP and the apprenticeship has real application to different spaces that just aren't getting those, just aren't exploring those pathways. So. I thought before the conversation started today that what I wanted to bring up was be thinking about um, how you can contribute what you know to an already kind of a space that seems open to it. Like actually talking about having a jiu-jitsu friend, um, and the Alexander technique, because there is just we're rounding out the puzzle in an interesting way with the EMP training that can be valuable to people. It is valuable to people. It's just a matter of them seeing it and being open to it. So that's what I've been excited about with the gym is movements in the conversation. People ask me like how I've learned what or how I move, like I know how to move, or and I'm not even you know particularly technical. I just move different than the other people because of AMP. So, yeah, does that make sense? I mean, it's something to think about, guys. You have a valuable training.
Yeah, so I would like to I'd like to offer two things here and they're related. So there's we talk about the local game and the meta game. So and both are happening simultaneously all of the time. So in this particular cohort, this monthly meeting that we're holding, participating in, this is like the meta to those local and those local practices is what I'm wanting to introduce here. And we're simultaneously addressing both simultaneously in the conversation in the dialogical practice that we're in right now and for the next basically 60 minutes. So the meta game here, I liked how you said earlier, Nick, like this is ours, this EMP. For now, I'll just simply characterize it as a brand in the world and say and you've said it before. You said this, I feel like this is ours to mess up. Um, it's like it's all right there. There's just so much opportunity and it just takes some care to actually apply it. And the message that you're bringing today, I hear is very hopeful. I mean, all of them are very hopeful, but like you're doing it in a way that by my sights is particularly interesting because you're actually in what I would refer to in more formal business constructs as a green field. You talked about, hey, I'm operating in an environment where there's no wrestling clubs, there's no teams in this part of the world that I'm in. Like it's wide open. Like there's no competition. Essentially, is another way of thinking about that. It's like you have first mover advantage. And then you also talked about um, what you thought you wanted to bring to this before you came to it. This today's session now. So here's the meta game in that you said be thinking about how all of us, so the coaching cohort, can contribute to EMP in spaces that are open to it. So I'm going to tell a quick anecdote on my side of things. So in my local area of practice, like I'm playing like the opposite extreme, it feels like, in the yoga space that I've been teaching in. So before I got into EMP, I was involved in a yoga studio. As of about 2 weeks ago now, I'm no longer practicing in that yoga studio because it wasn't sufficiently open. So it isn't that there weren't in practitioners, there were like the feedback, the direct feedback from some of the practitioners was like all good. It's like more, please, of what it is that you're doing. But there's this countervailing, I'll just, for now, I'll call it traditionalism, for lack of a better term, that is like, oh, I'm up against that. I can't go without force. So there's the nod to the Alexander technique in that. It's like I could force through that, and it was an agonizing few weeks for me to come to that decision, because I'm like, I can see how I can probably get away with this. Like I can probably force it and do some things that are a little bit on the more mischievous side and break through, but I'm deliberately not going to do that. Okay, so then I want to get Johnny in the mix here, because what I believe Johnny is bringing to our cohort, specifically in EMP as a brand more broadly, is a I guess the simplest way to say it is that Rafe has said, hey, I've basically been playing the entrepreneur game for I think a decade or more. He's like, I can't do that. Like I need to do other things. And he's stepping away, and Johnny is stepping into the frame, is what it looks like, to provide that just enough of the constraints with the wisdom that comes from watching how organisms grow, at least in a commercial domain. And I don't want to confine it strictly to the commercial domain. And I love the fact that you're working with Aaron, because Aaron is the one that comes with the greatest, this is a movement, not a business message with respect to the EMP brand. Okay, so that's a whole bunch of word salad out of me. I hope I kind of teed that up. So at this point, I'm just going to step back and let you guys go for it. I did say when you were off camera, Nick, that you asked really good questions when you asked questions. So my suggestion here would be that you point a few questions at Johnny, and let's go for it.
I think you teed Johnny up pretty well there, actually. I didn't realize, Rafe had connected me and Johnny over email because we were going to print some t-shirts here soon. Right, Johnny? That is you, right?
You are that Nick. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
didn't
good.
know that. Nice to meet you, dude.
Hey, nice to meet you, bro. Yeah. What has it been like getting into the EMP world, Johnny? How did you meet Rafe?
So I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. Anyone here know Brennan Mulligan? So he's also a return to the source and lover of EMP. He's a good friend of mine, and we work together in the emerging tech field. And so I was having a crisis. I was having a bit of an existential crisis last February. And he was like, you should watch this 50-hour YouTube series called Awakening from the Meaning Crisis. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that. That sounds like a lot. But 3 episodes in, I committed to finishing it and finished it in 3 months. And then he goes, if you really liked that, and there's this retreat in 2 months, you should sign up for it and come do part 4 in the woods with some strangers. And I was like, well, I trust you. If you think that this is worth doing, yeah, I'll get on the phone with Rafe like this week. And so I got on the phone with Rafe, and I was like, hey, I'm really looking to I'm understanding what's happening, like the 4 Ps or whatever, but like I'm really struggling to figure out what my practices are. I'm like shopping for practices. And he's like, cool, man, come to return to the source. And I was like, cool. And really fell in love with you all, us all. I've been calling it like the meaning space or the wisdom space. One thing that I noticed that really energizes me is that I think we're everywhere, not just in the physical movement world. I think that there's I come from a lot of different places, but one place I come from is crypto and emerging tech and AI. It's like there are people who are just like us that don't know that like we exist in the parkour world. There are people obviously who are in like the nature world. There's artists, like literally everywhere you look, I feel like there's a branch of the tree that is very similar to what we're all trying to accomplish, which for me, put as simply as possible, is like gathering and using wisdom to make ourselves and the world a better place. Um, and so ultimately, my dream is to connect as many of those communities as possible, so that we can cross pollinate and really just like kick ass and make more friends and play more games, like play infinite games with play long-term games with long-term people. But specifically in the EMP realm, it's like there's such good energy in this community, and there's so many of us, and some of us like me are just in for the ride, and other people like you guys went through an entire apprenticeship program and have a certificate. Then you've stepped up and said like, I want to point my energy in this direction, whatever that direction means to you. And I would love to facilitate midwife, uh, even just be connective tissue between, you know, Rafe, EMP, you guys, other people. It's like my ultimate goal is like if I can just make things less frictiony, and help kind of this amorphous blob be a little less amorphous. Uh, it'd be my pleasure to kind of help in any way that I can.
That was beautiful, Johnny. That was
I'm
beautiful.
sorry, I was a little long-winded.
No, I love how it's like everything, you're just approach your friend, everything's falling apart. He's like, okay, hear me out on this. 50-hour YouTube series. We've all been there. The weird part is maybe more of us have been there than you think. Like something about how would you even put it? Something about Vervaeke's ability to like synthesize a bunch of these converging threads of thought and these converging characters. It is weird that he's kind of a waypoint for getting into movement, getting into the more wisdom practices or whatever, and just to kind of explaining some things that maybe has happened more, or explaining this chain of events that has happened that helps orient us. Yeah, I don't know. It does blow my mind. John, I have the wheel from, I think it's episode the Buddhist wheel. It's the Dharma wheel. But when Vervaeke and I think it's episode 13. I don't know the episodes that well. I've watched that one several times because my life had no what would you say, harmony to it. Like it was a bunch of scattered things everywhere instead of like one wheel that was working together. But hey, Rafe.
Hello, guys. Sorry I'm late. Didn't see the the email. I was waiting for a WhatsApp link.
Got you. Yeah, Johnny was just explaining the origin stories of his connections to EMP and watching 50 episodes of Vervaeke. So yeah, as many of us have.
Yeah, we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
What's going on with you, Rafe?
I'm cold. 1 second. Yeah, life's been good. Busy. I been homeschooling the kids, so just finding the rhythm with the homeschooling of the kids, which is really cool. And they're wrestling and competing in ninja, and now we started to compete in parkour as well. So they had their first parkour competition down in Portland. Then we're going for ninja this weekend in Portland, and then on the 7th we'll go up to Origins for our first competition at Origins for the kids. So it's been really fun, just kind of like doing that and working on skills. Kira's just like taking off like crazy right now as an athlete. He's he did a double Kong over two 42-inch boxes, 3 feet apart. And it's only 4 foot 10 inches tall, so you know, it's pretty unique. So yeah. And then haven't really started writing. I wanted to get that done. I reached out to the Ninja Gym about potentially working with them. And right now they're not interested in expanding their parkour programming, which is a bummer. But you know, we'll see if that changes in the future. So I'm reconsidering ways that I could get the parkour community to kind of start growing here in Bellingham, and yeah, trying to figure out how I'm going to craft space to get my writing done, and also, you know, make sure that the business is continuing to move forward and grow. So,
Are you willing to say anything about the book, Rafe? Like, would it be memoir like, or a guide, or I mean, there's just seems like there's just endless possibility with it.
yeah, well, I have a few. I actually have like a bunch of books that I'd like to write, but the first two that I've been considering is one on basically involvement with play, right? Like the book about involvement with play. Like what is the problem that involvement play is the solution to, and why is involvement play a solution to it, and you know, how is it done? That's kind of the first book. And then the other one would be, you know, after what I went through with Beth, I just feel like so many people are really struggling with the skills and the mindset that allows marriages to flourish. And I thought that a kind of memoir about that would be really useful. So I started writing when Beth and I were separated. I was writing like almost an hour every day about our experience, about what I was experiencing. It was for the first maybe 6 weeks, and so I was like, oh well, this is maybe the seeds of a book at the time, and so I'd like to finish that. It's unfortunate, like the memory is getting less detailed already about that time in my life. I'm like, shit, I gotta get on it. It's time. So yeah, those are my 2 book things, and then I actually have a couple of fantasy novels I'd like to write, which is kind of an extravagance, but my mind likes to bounce around those ideas, and I think that they're very interesting it's actually very interesting as a sort of philosophical enterprise as well. And Lord of the Rings was super important to me. So
Now, I don't think Tolkien would say extravagant in a superfluous way. He would, you know, wouldn't he say like it's a refreshing, Rafe? You know, we need to be immersed.
Recovering.
Don't put that down.
So who knows? Maybe that'll happen. I think it'd be interesting to be able to write really well about chase scenes as somebody who's done parkour extensively, and obviously the fight scenes. Most fight scenes in fantasy are so absurdly unrealistic, right? Like these guys, people who write these scenes have never fought or felt a sword that's actually, you know, designed to fight. They just like, yeah, come on, guys. So that's sort of window dressing. It's not actually that important. The mechanics of the fight, like it's really about its emotional impact. But it would be fun for me to be like, no, this is what it's really like.
As long as you can like also keep it interesting, right? Because it's like, and then and then his throat was slit and it was over.
Have you read if you've ever read Norse sagas, it's incredible. Like they're so down to earth. It's like most of the fights are like, you know, guy hides behind a shed and hits the other guy over the head with a sword. When he walks by, he's dead. Yeah. And then occasionally you'll get these like remarkable feats. Like there's this scene in Null Saga where this guy Skarpheden jumps across a frozen creek, lands on the ice, slides and manages to lop somebody's head off with a sword while he's sliding across the ice. And it's really like, it stands out in the narrative because most of the other fights are just like, he pulls his sword out and stabs him before he before he turns around and it's over, right? And so this heroic moment is so much more like impactful than, like, you know, if you read Irish mythology, it's like, you know, he went through an army of 10,000 people like a hawk through a flock of doves. And with an exceedingly great leap, he leapt to the top of this mountain. And when he landed, his feet hit so hard he left a lake, and that lake's called Loch Erie. You know, a little different. Anyways, it seems really far afield from what we should be talking about then. I'm happy to talk about Irish and Scottish Norse myths if that's what you guys want to get into.
Ray, before I lose it, I do love the enchantment, but before I lose it, I do want to say, I don't know if you've thought of like a home for the in terms of publishers or anything for an EMP related book, but like Sean Coyne, the guy that edited and published Vervaeke's book, you know, Sean Coyne has the Story Grid publishing house, and his whole mission is to just like well to make more meaningful stories in the world, because stories are mutual maps. That's kind of the language he would use. But man, his thinking and your thinking in terms of how to synthesize different practices. What Story Grid is like, you know how everybody has these books on how to write, like Stephen King has on writing, there's The War of Art, there's Save the Cat, there's all these screenplay writing books. Well, what he did, you know, is he went back to first principles and synthesize what works for all of these, categorize the on writing books, and they have this. I mean, they're writing books in spreadsheets, like, and how the dips of different scenes work and what exactly makes a scene work and value shifts in a scene. Just your thinking and synthesizing movement practices, and Sean and Sean and Vervaeke did when they made the Meaning Crisis book. Like, this is where in my opinion, this is where the EMP book belongs, bro. I just
Sure.
want to bring that up.
Yeah, I definitely have thought that if I, you know, when I'm sort of closer to ready, that I would be reaching out to the Vervaeke Foundation to kind of, you know, get leads as to where to be published. I've also been approached by another small publisher that's interested in working with me. So I have, you know, I already have interest. So, you know,
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I would love to bounce it back to you, Akshay, unless anybody else has got something that they really want to say. Is there anything that's coming up for you? Anything that you're curious about that you've heard so far, or want to kind of direct the flow with?
I was really struck, Johnny, by when you were kind of talking about your dream of reducing friction and bringing people together. Thought that was really interesting, and that's part of what our meeting does for me, and just hearing all the different threads of work that y'all are doing. Um, so yeah, I was kind of curious about when you think about that, think about bringing all these different people doing wisdom work together. What forms do you imagine that happening in?
It's a great question. So here, the real answer is I don't know, but the longer answer is I've spoken to maybe 6 individuals so far in like the EMP universe, and it really does feel like everyone's kind of obviously coming at this from a bunch of different angles, right? And so if I'm understanding your question correctly, I really want to hear where as many individuals want to go as humanly possible. So for me, if I had to guess, that could look like some people just want to practice and grow their and like get better with their practice and just meet up and jive, right? I think some people have appetite that they want to run their own workshop, right? Especially people who went through the apprentice program. Some people feel like they're chomping at the bit to kind of take this gift and bring it to other people. Some people want return to the source to come back, Rafe. I didn't tell you yet, but I'm sure you know people wanted to come back. Some people want to do anything they can to help that make that a reality in 2026, right? And so the way my mind is working is it's kind of like the beginning of the universe, where there are all these particulates of matter are just kind of swirling around our sun, and things are going to bump together, and as things bump together they're going to clump, and as they clump they're going to get more gravity, and there are more things going to clump. And so I don't think I'm very much not thinking linearly, where I don't think it's like, hey, we're gonna do something, and if you want to be a part of it, let me know, because this is what we're doing. I think what it's really going to look like is 3 or 4 things are going to clump, and then we'll go to Rafe or whoever, depending on how we want to like structure, and obviously things will EMP brand needs to be protected. So like we're gonna have to really like play this game as well. But like, let's just say somebody wants to run an EMP branded like workshop once a week. I would love to facilitate the conversation with Rafe and be like, hey, okay, what does that look like? What are the constraints, and what are the resources that can flow back and forth? And one of the resources that comes to mind most readily is like an email list. Oh, you're in Charlotte, North Carolina. Do we have any emails, phone numbers, or contacts in Charlotte, Charlotte? Actually, I don't even know if it's in North or South Carolina. Do we have any contacts in Charlotte that we can kind of help get that off the ground? What constraints do we need to keep in order to make sure that the brand stays pure and true to itself? So that's like one example, but not the example. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And Rafe, please feel free to jump in if you want to.
I'm on board with that. Like, I want it to grow. I want other people to have a chance to participate in it. I want to, yeah, I really want to be teaching. That's kind of where I want to be. And I really want to avoid administrating. And taking on
no more spreadsheets for Rafe.
taking on all the financial risk as well. That's something I would prefer not to have to do all the time. Just like, when things go well, it's great. When I lose $20,000, it's pretty stressful to me. So
did what I say make sense at all?
I think so. You're just talking about trying to find the centers of gravity, basically, and the sort of the like, the way that I've always thought about it is like, so if you look at like CrossFit or MoveNat or Edo or any of these, these brands, there's this basic idea that you want an exchange for like the value of the body of teaching that's then available to somebody else to offer. But my critique of MoveNat was that they marketed their product as something that would increase the value of the career available to someone who had been certified by them. And it didn't look like that actually happened. And that seemed like a problem to me in the long run, because it's like, okay.
Yeah, just give me my computer. It's right over
Yeah,
there.
Oh, you need your card.
Yeah.
You guys want to say hi to Kier? You want to come over and say hi to Kier? You and these guys.
Hey, Kier.
Thank you.
Video. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so these guys have heard me talk about this before, but the basic thing is that and this was even more, I think this was more true. I think a lot of this thinking comes from the pre-internet era, or like the like streaming internet era. You could be relatively proprietary with knowledge. It was like, this is what I know, and then other people who learn it from me have to like give back to me in a specific way. But the question I always had was like, okay, well, if I create this thing, yeah, I want to get some value from the people who are teaching it, but it doesn't work if it moves to sort of like a solely extractive model where there's no continued value for them once they've absorbed. So it's like, okay, there's an upfront value that I've shared with these guys by teaching them everything that we taught over the year. But if I say, okay, well, now from now until forever, anytime you use EMP's brand, I get this much money out of it as a licensing fee or something. It's hard to justify that if that doesn't actually help them make money on the other side. Right? Like, so my goal, my hope has always been to create, and then what you see a lot of times is some students will come in and they'll learn, and then when they realize that financially there's no incentive for them staying in, they'll just butt off and create their own thing. And a lot of times that looks really under the table and unethical, but part of it's just because it doesn't make sense. It's not actually a continued fair trade. So my goal is like, well, what's a fair trade? Like, how do we leverage the large platform that I've created and everything so that people who work with us, if we're getting a percentage of the money that they're doing while working with us, how do we create a situation in which that actually continues to be in their financial interest as long as possible? And so in order to do that, you have to like utilize the size of the thing or whatever, the ability to create a marketing mechanism to make their life easy. So the claim with something like MoveNat or CrossFit is the brand itself makes your life easier. But and CrossFit was successful with that because CrossFit was incredibly viral. MoveNet tried to follow in their footsteps, and they never became a large enough presence to actually make life easier. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, what is the value of a brand? Like, I've been, like Ninja Warrior. Ninja Warrior is incredibly valuable as a brand because of the TV show, and it's just, like, we have this amazing parkour space in the Ninja Gym, but they don't want to host more parkour classes because they have daily demand for more ninja classes. They can't keep up with the people who want ninja classes. Why do people want ninja classes? Because they see ninja on TV. The reality of like EMP is like, yeah, I like being on Jordan Peterson and doing stuff like that. It puts me in a position where I'm closer to that kind of status, like, and yet not close enough to actually move the metrics that much. So the goal,
yet.
Not yet.
I want to. So if you want to keep riffing, keep going. Otherwise, I got a couple things.
So the goal here was have a newsletter, have competent marketers, have competent administrators, and then we can share that pie with people who then can do work. Like, I can't teach 100 workshops, but if we have a staff that can teach 100 workshops, and they're going to fill those workshops much easier because they're working with us, now we have a fair value exchange. But if it's just like, oh, I created the thing and now you're using the thing, it's like, well, I'll just tweak it a little bit and now it's my own thing, right? If there's no real value in the exchange. That's been the goal, right? Is to find a really positive sum relationship that's replicable for different students as they move through the system and become coaches. And I thought we were there with Luke and with the workshops, and then it kind of, you know, the market corrected on us and we lost Luke, and now we're not there. So that's why I show up on these calls, is because I'm trying to continue to be part of offering value in exchange for the time and money and energy everyone spent with me. But yeah, I'm not sure that we've dialed it in yet. That would be the goal, is to achieve that.
And one thing I want to add before Cam jumps in is one way that I think I can be most helpful at this stage, and I want you guys to spread the word if you can, is like, obviously Rafe only has so much time and energy that he can devote to like thinking and ideating about this sort of stuff. And while I don't have infinite time, I would love for you all to talk my ear off on ideas that you have, right? If there's ever any energy of like, oh, I really want to do this, or so and so really wants to do this, or the four of us would really like to do this. If ever comes a point where, like, I mean, I would love to be the person that you bounce that idea off first, and obviously anyone else that wants to participate, I'm sure Cam wants to participate, but like, I would love to be your first point of contact, because if I can hear everyone's ideas and if I can kind of be the story keeper, then it's easy for me to link people together, be like, oh, you two actually have a very similar idea, let me make sure you two are talking, or oh, I'm seeing this theme around this, okay, now let's have like a call with Rafe and like really start to ideate how we can make this a reality. So it's like, no offense, well, not even offense, but like, obviously, Rafe, if everyone comes to you because because you started EMP, you're just going to be inundated with ideas, and so yeah, if I can be kind of the first pass so that we can kind of clump things together, that would be my pleasure, and also how I think things can get done even faster.
Yeah, my best role is as a creator, in some sense, like creator of ideas, creator of methods, and like teacher. And the more that like business mechanism can move off my plate, the more that like group coordination can move off my plate, the better. I'm, you know, temperamentally, I'm kind of on the lower side of social enthusiasm. I get exhausted by people relatively easily. So I have a lot of pro-social drive. I care about people a lot, but like I you know, when I do interviews, like when I do my podcast, like I have to take a nap. It's so draining to me. So yeah, there's a certain weaknesses or certain you know, biases in my character that are not ideal for some jobs. Marketing.
Yeah, balancing. So I want to do two things here. So Giulio, you've been very patient. I'm gonna call on you in just a moment. I wanted to say something in response to Johnny and to everybody here. So it's oh, Akshay, you got to go. You can come off mute and say goodbye.
Yep, I got to run today, but it was great to see y'all,
Akshay,
and I'll
good
see
to
you
see
next
you.
time.
It was
Hopefully
nice
it's
meeting you.
Likewise, take care.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Johnny.
So the offer, if you guys don't have Johnny's contact information, like he just made a massive offer there in my mind. And then I want to say that I don't love the administrative work, but I'm also very practiced at it. So what I'm going to keep doing is my methodical administrative thing of just holding station on a real clock, so that there's opportunities for people to meet with Johnny. So I've brokered a number of conversations with him, and I'm going to continue to ramp that, and I'm going to continue to host these as long as necessary on a regular monthly cadence. Rafe, sorry that I didn't add you. You should now be on it. If you don't see that on your calendar as a regular, please let me know.
Okay.
All right, Giulio.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks also, Rafe, for coming on here, and it's really nice to meet you, Johnny. We've heard some good things about you already, and so thanks for the offer as well. I think that's very much appreciated, especially because I don't know if you met Mark, but he's basically like the person that I still have here in Germany since Yannick left for the US. And so now it's basically the two of us kind of like yeah, doing the EMP, rocking the EMP world here in Europe. And so just what I want to say is that also for you, Rafe, that might be interesting. And then I would love to talk to Johnny about that. We are planning the first retreat for next year, which I wanted to take place in Fontainebleau. And this is a place that for me has been just magical for the past, I guess, 15 years. And I want people to experience the place and also to kind of like see if we can fit things together for the first EMP retreat in Europe. So that would be amazing. And I'm talking to Charlie as well, who I guess you have met at the Return to the Source because he has been there this year, right? Yeah. And so hi from Charlie to everyone. He's like he was really keen when I asked him to join as a facilitator. And he kind of has this feeling of like EMP has given so much to him that he wants to give something back. So there was this like framing of like holding up the torch, like the fire, and bringing it basically now to Europe, which is quite amazing. And yeah, so that's definitely something I want to kind of like pitch in one of the future calls. So just already it's happening. Yeah,
So let's
or
pitch
we
it
want
right
to.
now, real quick. So the date that was a call. Some other people have asked me about that since we spoke last. So date, what's the date?
The date is the May 31st until June 6th.
Thank
I
you.
can
And that's
also,
Fontainebleau.
yeah, that's
That's
Fontainebleau,
the
exactly.
place. And then you
Yeah.
had also talked about I think I remember a waterfall experience that you had that I think I conflated the two things. Is that still a thing that, or is that part of the same thing?
That is not the same thing, and it is also not so much on the menu for next year
Okay.
for now. It's more on a wish, an idea.
So let's put it out there as that, and let's do the same thing. So if it's not next year, is it the next year? Is the probability that it's there?
Yes, I would love
Okay.
that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the place again is where?
North of Italy in the pre-Alps, basically. I
Beautiful.
don't have an exact like location, but I have been doing what also Rafe has been doing lately a lot, this canyoneering stuff. And well,
Is it fair to
basically,
say that you've done a first round scouting?
oh, yes, for sure.
Okay.
Since
Thanks.
2018. Yeah, yeah. Maybe 5 rounds of scouting for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but just so you get an idea, and don't get me wrong, I was always a bit unsecure since we finished the apprenticeship, how like things will evolve in Europe here for us, because I'm sure it's a different market, and it also is different people and different locations, of course. And since there is quite a distance between the US and Europe, of course, it's always also a question, is it mainly Mark and me facilitating, or maybe Charlie and Ben Matter could be also potential, facilitators, or will US people come over to Europe to host the retreat together? So these were always like kind of like things that I wondered in my mind. I know that Ben Price is very much interested in this event, and he wants to join. So that would be great to have him here. And yeah, so basically things are starting to solidify and to be more concrete. And so I'm super interested in what you're doing, Johnny, and also Brandon is, I think, still in somehow, right? And so I would love to like bounce back and forth some ideas, because basically it's happening right now that we are kind of preparing things. So
Yeah, I would love
yeah.
to meet with you anytime you'd like. We can also throw Charlie into the mix if it's helpful, but even if it's just the two of us or your co-facilitator, yeah, do not be shy. I would love to help any way I can, especially because in some ways, you guys are at the tip of the spear, right? Like this is a really good example of how the apprenticeship program can turn into other people running retreats, and in a way, like your success is going to be all of our successes. So I'm very, very energized to help any way that I can.
Cool. Thanks so much. Which is the best way to reach out to you, Johnny?
Yeah, you can either email me. I'm gonna put all this in the chat real quick. You can
Perfect.
either
Thanks.
email me or send me a WhatsApp. If I don't answer, I usually answer my email, but if for some reason I don't, I'm always open to a WhatsApp.
Sounds good. Cool. Thanks so much.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to pitch for today, because I think that is a conversation for another time. But definitely, I mean, Mark and me for sure are on fire, especially because we both love the work, and we've seen in the last workshop in Munich that people are loving it. It's just not there yet with like marketing, with like amount of participants interested. There are some for sure, but we still need to kind of ramp up the game of like putting the word out there. So that's for sure like one big, let's say, challenge. I would call it challenge to reach the people that are interested in that, because I know they are there. It's just a question of reach and how to get the word to the people. Yeah.
Yeah. And how to, yeah, there, you know, with marketing, there's the issue of like when to reach people and how to rise above the noise, because there's, you know, there's maybe movement camp and there's this and that, and people have different commitments and different things. So the best tool supposedly is a good newsletter. Really, really building that up, but we've got issues with our newsletter. And so then the question is, how do we solve those? And then the other thing is the, you know, the social media feed, and how do we get that to being robust, get the right people in charge of it, and then get it being fed by the broader EMP community of coaches and not just me, so that it starts to like have a coherent brand, but also make all of you guys prominent figures in it, so that people are excited to work with you. This is something that I saw with like Ito and his team, was that it was all about Ito. And so then when Johnny and Odelia are teaching, you know, people are just disappointed that Ito's not there.
Hey,
That's
Ray,
hard. It's hard to break. What's that?
real quick on marketing before you go off marketing and social. It is worth mentioning. I've just been learning more about what my brother's been doing for MetFix, like the metabolic fix brand that Greg Glassman has started off of CrossFit. But Connor had it had just come up. He sends a slider out, so this is public information. But like I think Connor in the last maybe year that he's been working with MetFix, he made them like 250K in sales on social media. Okay, with Greg Glassman's new brand. It's called Far Out. I'll send you a link. Connor is he's talking to my brother's talking to another one of the clients I work with, this thing called Herf Jones. It's a national brand that sells class gowns and rings to high schools, but he would love to talk to you, Rafe. Or is that something you'd be
Of
open to,
course,
or Johnny would be open to, or
yeah. I
um
mean, I can't speak for Johnny, but
yeah, okay.
I'd be happy to talk to them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe I just link you guys up and y'all, figure something out. But if social's in the conversation, just my brother's really good at it. He has
that's good enough. Yeah, really good. Yeah. I
I don't know if that's even relevant to the conversation. I just want to throw that out.
It's just it is like I really think that's the kind of like the sticking point behind the model that I've dreamed of and where we're at is like the reality is that like most of us who are great teachers or passionate about teaching are not great at marketing or administration. So
Yeah.
the value of a centralized team is to be able to get those people in place and have them take that role. And I have basically held those roles in a lot of ways for EMP, or stepped in and out of those roles repeatedly for EMP, because we haven't been able to scale the money up enough to like get the right people into them. But ultimately, that is what will make it makes sense, right? It makes sense when the newsletter kills and social media kills. And then it's like, well, cool. Like now we just train you guys and you plug in to your role in teaching workshops and local classes and retreats. And then sales happen and everybody makes money, right? That's the good stuff. But the engine of it is, I think that you could have a distributed team here where a relatively small team of marketers, admins, logistics people can manage retreats and workshops and local classes for a relatively large team of coaches. And now you have an efficiency that actually like creates a positive sum trade-off. That's the idea. I don't know if that makes sense to you, John, but that's what I've been kind of thinking about for years.
Yeah, no, it makes a total sense. What's going through my head is the cold start problem, right? It's would love to meet with your brother because yeah, the flywheel needs to spin in order for it to work, and very hard to incentivize people, you know, to do things for no or very little money. But I have some ideas.
I
I
will
mean, I think like, I don't know what you think, Johnny, but like we have a really powerful software package for free for doing all this kind of work through Luke. Like Luke is giving us that stuff still. So even though he's not able to like do the work for us directly, he's built this amazing tool set that we have free access to. So we have that. There's Johnny. I don't know if it's time to look at bringing.
Is that time bound? So that build, that package that you're talking about, is that truly available in perpetuity?
Probably.
Nice.
As of right now, I mean, based on how Luke has worked with me in the past, I don't see him being likely to just be like, hey, now it's going to cost you money. So you never know, but I don't think that it matters to him if we're paying or not. And I think he just really wants us to be successful.
Have you looked at that yet, Johnny? Are you aware
Yeah.
at all? Okay.
I have a login, so I do need to do a much stronger deep dive on figuring out what our collateral are, specifically like email addresses and phone numbers. But I have a login, so I'm in it.
Nice.
I'm super excited for future calls. It was a pleasure to see you all and talk to you, both on the private, like physical stuff, and especially also for further things to come. I just need to run today, but for sure, Johnny, thanks so much for the contact details. I'll reach out to you. And
Looking forward to talking. Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
We'll be gearing up to try to make that thing in Fontainebleau run well and make money, and we'll figure out what the value exchange is for that. But awesome. And I don't know.
Perfect. I'm very much
Aaron,
looking
Kyle
forward to
wants
it.
to get involved or what it is. I didn't think I'd be able to come to Europe next year for family reasons. My schedule's cleared up a little bit. It's still kind of like I need Beth's trying to get back to work, and if she gets back to work, then that changes our financial situation and makes it maybe so it's easier to justify, but also it may mean that she's more committed, and I still have some ducks to kind of line up before I can make a commitment to go to Europe. But I would love, like, my dream, I'd love to come over there for like 6 weeks next summer and really spend some time with Leo, like especially now with Kira will be turning 12. I want him like exposed to all these people, you and Mark and Barefoot Charles and Leo, and
Nice, yeah. Let
And
me know in advance. I'm super stoked for that, for sure.
I
Rent
spend
a-
half my time in London, so if
Yeah.
Charles and all of us could get, if you're ever in the UK, we can all get together, or even take a short trip to Germany. Would love that.
Yeah,
Cool. Sounds
you can
good.
meet up- you guys could all meet up in the Lake District with Charlie. That's the best place to go. It's the
I
prettiest.
want to do that
Yes.
in January probably.
Oh.
January might be a good time for me at least to do that. But yeah, I'll let you know for sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Have a
Cool.
good one, Julio. Oh,
Take care, everyone.
Take care, Giulio. Thanks.
Cam, Nick, Johnny, anything else we should do, or should I go educate my kids?
I have to run in about 3
Okay.
minutes, so I think
Okay.
educating your kids is a good step.
Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.
Bye, Rafe.
Take care, Johnny. Nick, out. Have a good day,
Guys, it
everybody.
was so nice. It was so nice meeting you. And again, thank you for everyone for being so welcoming and open-minded. I'm really excited.
Have a great day.
Bye, guys.